From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Nick Barris here. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine on this Tuesday. A good show on tap for you, a cause that's important to talk about, an issue rather that's important to talk about, and the efforts to I think, address it, raise public awareness, get people involved, and to know what's out there. We're going to be talking this month, as a matter of fact, is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And, you know, it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, all of that. And the sad fact is it is still such an issue, not only here in Tennessee, but across the country, everywhere across the world. Boggles my mind, the people and the risks they take to commit these types of crimes, despite the great efforts by law enforcement and organizations like those who are on our show this morning. So what we're going to do is get into the conversation, open up the phone lines. You're invited to join in the conversation. See the number on the screen, 737-7587, if you want to join in the conversation. Let's introduce our guests to you this morning from our kids. Jill Howlett. Good morning to you, Jill. How are you?
Good morning. I'm
nice
good.
to see you. Good to have you on. And Rob Kerrigan, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force with the Metro Sex Crimes Unit. Nice to have you on, sir. Yeah. Thanks so much. All right, so this is the month that we kind of pay attention to this issue. But it's every darn month, isn't it?
It's true.
Okay.
It is. There are between 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys will be affected by child sex abuse before they turn 18.
Give the definition of what that would be. How does someone know whether it's child or physical abuse? Where's the threshold? Sex abuse, I think I understand a little more, but then we can get into physical abuse. What's the difference between a swat to the rear of a spanking, discipline, and abuse? But how about the sex crimes aspect of it?
Any inappropriate touching of a child to their genital areas or to an adult's genital areas by that child would be considered child sexual abuse.
Okay.
Also, inappropriate exposure to pornography, or exposing them to pornography or photographing them as well.
Okay.
Those are kind of loose parameters for what child sex abuse means. As far as physical abuse, that at our kids we focus mainly on sexual abuse.
Okay.
Some of the physical abuse that we see, we refer to the child maltreatment physician at Vanderbilt.
Okay. And then what were some of the numbers you were going to say? 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 7 boys?
Correct. Or would be affected by child sexual abuse before they turn 18. And that's a huge number of children that are affected. And we know that those numbers are probably low because people don't disclose that type of abuse when it happens, and some of them never disclose that kind of abuse. So we know that number is probably a little bit low.
Is it possible in some cases too, especially with a young child, they don't know if they're isolated, that it is abuse? I think at some level they have to sense that what's being done is obviously wrong. But if that's all their exposure to is, they may not know it's something they should come forward with.
Absolutely. Some children are not talked, their parents don't share that information with them about what's inappropriate. Some predators are good at what they do, and they convince the children, I'm your fill in the blank. I'm your dad, I'm your uncle, I'm your teacher, I'm your next door neighbor, and it's okay if I do it, but it's not okay.
Yeah, it's a person of authority, and they're tending to just defer to what they say, right?
Right. And some kids are very scared, and they don't want to tell. They're very afraid of the person doing it, and they just don't come forward. And it's certainly not the children's fault for not doing that. It's our jobs as adults to learn to recognize and to believe children when they say something has happened to them, to believe them.
Okay, and it is the same type of situation. We've done this show last year, and we did the show the year before, and the year before, and the year before. And what you've just said there is exactly the same, and that is the standard by it. But things do change. One thing you mentioned is that we're seeing more and more outlets over the internet. I mean, there's some, and I'm older, so I'm clueless, but my son has a lot, Snapchat and all this other stuff. But more and more kids are being sought out through these channels that maybe their parents don't even know exist.
That's exactly right. There's a kind of a phrase in our work that Facebook is for old people.
Yeah, right.
And so kids aren't on Facebook.
Kids aren't on that anymore.
No, kids aren't on Facebook anymore. They're on the newest greatest app that they can get on that we don't even know about. It is certainly something new in this generation of kids who are exposed to more technology and more. They have just the internet at their hands all the time because they have smartphones.
Right.
And while technology is wonderful, we as parents have to just be on top of it as well. If your child has Snapchat, you should have Snapchat. If your child is on Instagram, you need to be on Instagram. There are apps that I know very little about, like Kick. Those are apps that we know that predators use to contact children.
Okay, right.
And those are the scary ones. But we also, Rob can probably talk about that a little bit more, but we also don't know what's being developed today that kids are going to have on their phones next week that we just need to be more aware of and how they work.
Okay, as you said, how many new ones are there out there, Rob? It keeps you busy, doesn't it? I mean, I'm just wondering, you may not have a number for me.
I think there's like 1,000 apps a day that are posted, new apps that are coming out each day for iTunes and the Apple products. It's crazy the number of them. Like you said, the kids kind of figure out what the new hot app is. So Nashville may see a ton of kids on Kick or Instagram for a year, and then all of a sudden that'll drop off, and a new app will pick up, Omegle or something else that's the new social media app. And in the old days, we knew where if the suspect was wanting to target children, he went to the mall because that's where the kids were.
Yeah.
But now he can sit in his living room.
So much easier.
Totally anonymity. I can make up whoever I want to be, and I'm going to go on the apps that I know the kids are going to because it allows me the best access.
So how do you police that? I mean, we suspect you can go on there and you guys can cruise through and look for targets or pose as things, right? Is that what you do, or how do you police it now?
There's a number of different ways, but each of those major players, Facebook, Instagram, any of those, the major apps and the major internet service providers, a lot of them will police themselves. They'll monitor activity across their network. If they get people calling in or sending a tip in about somebody that's inappropriate online, they'll monitor that. If they see something that appears to be illegal that's going on in the chats or going on a profile, they'll notify the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And then that eventually makes it down to whatever jurisdiction is the most likely for that suspect to be in. And then we'll follow up from that point on. So we get a lot of tips from that realm. We also go online and pose as minors, waiting for people to approach us. You'd think that would be difficult, and it's not.
Gosh, I mean, that just boggles my mind. I mean, okay, these folks have to know you're out there, right? And yet the urge to hook up with a child is so great that they still take this huge risk of getting caught, knowing that whoever they may be communicating with is an undercover officer.
Yeah.
That goes to this illness, doesn't it? How sick these people are.
I don't want to call it an illness. I think they're suspects. They're criminals.
They're criminals. All right.
I'm not going to excuse their behavior as an illness.
Right. Okay. Well, what is it? Is it okay? I mean, it's definitely not normal being attracted to a child. All right. What is
correct. I would certainly agree with Rob that it is certain criminal activity.
Oh,
I think
sure,
there's a different makeup of people that seek children to harm.
Okay. All right. And so when you go after them this way, when you get these leads, are you able to actually track them to a home and then go make an arrest?
I mean, when you're connected to the internet, especially with today's technology, when you're connected to the internet, a lot of logs are saved by those providers. We're able to get those logs, and then through those logs we can subpoena records from Comcast or AT&T, some of those providers, and they can narrow it down to a particular home that service is coming out of, and we can normally identify a suspect that way. Sometimes they're stupid enough to put their names in their email. Yeah. Or you'd be surprised at what we can find out in just a short time, just doing some basic internet searches. And the range of those that you arrest, it crosses all socioeconomic backgrounds. Absolutely. Gender, ethnicity, everything. Absolutely. What we've seen the last 2 years, maybe 3. More and more, the age of our victims is getting younger and younger because the technology's there. So just a few years ago, we were dealing with internet safety presentations in the high schools because that's where most of our kids were getting phones and stuff. Now every 11-year-old has a cell phone and a smartphone, which is a computer basically.
But now, if these
fingertips.
sickos are trying to lure an 11-year-old, so but I can see how a high schooler may have means to, if they fall for it, to go visit. Or I guess they can invite someone over. But an 11-year-old being lured to go meet someone.
You have a kid that lives nearby, near a Target or near a Kmart or something, where there's a shopping center nearby. It doesn't take much to go, hey, meet me over there. I'm just around the corner from you. I can meet you over there. And we've had those cases. We don't necessarily advertise all our arrests.
No, I'm sure.
Myself and I have one partner that I work with in internet crimes. We made 50 or so arrests every year for the last 3 or 4, just in our division. Not all those arrests are publicized necessarily, but we've made cases of those where guys are coming to meet kids.
All right, listen, we need to take a break on that. Lots more ground to cover. We have some phone calls coming in as well. If you're on hold, stay there. The number 737-7587. Ray, Greg, and others, stay there. More of our conversation on a very important topic right after this. Stay with us.